Previously on Dandies in Danger.
It's Tuesday today. You guys wanted to not only locate the angels, but locate a passage out.
And also find out who is the one who would have the keys / the access to the dungeon.
No matter how bad things get, I have ways of getting you out.
I feel the same way, Luna. I feel the exact same way.
Manus, a hunter who specializes in the magic of the church. The mutterings of angels and archons are on the lips of these magic users, and they wield their powers against demons, witches who draw power from the self, and white witches. It is these specialists who capture and brainwash witches who draw power from the self, converting them into slaves of the church and unwilling traitors to their own kind. Tread very carefully. He sees a woman sitting at a table. Zachery sees her profile and recognizes immediately that this was the person who was dressed like a jester at the card table at the Grand Grimoire.
Hi, my name is Eli, my pronouns are he, him, and I play the voice of Zachery Wilkos.
Hi, I'm Cass, pronouns she, her, and I'll be voicing Liam Bardsley.
Hi, I'm Chess, pronouns he, she, they, and I voice Daniel Pritchard.
Hi, I'm Toast. Pronouns are she, they, and I play Adrian Edwards.
I want to check in with Adrian and Daniel real quick. So Adrian has come over to Zachery and Daniel's house, and Zachary's out. So Adrian and Daniel stare at each other for a second. I guess we'll get to work, huh?
Does Zachery ever taught you about any of this, or?
He seems embarrassed, like, living with a witch, maybe he should be of more use. But he says, No.
No.
I have seen him leave out a bowl of water in the moonlight for his wolves.
Are you sure that's not just for the cat?
He thinks about this. Considers it. And he blushes, realizing that he will be of very little help.
Great. Really should have asked him more information. Well, what about that little book? Does it tell us how to do this?
Right. He goes and he grabs the book and he thumbs through the pages. Alright, let's see here. He flips to the introduction. Here it is. There's a little exercise we can do. Focus on intent.
Alright.
Well, it seems like simple meditation.
Adrian's looking over at the book and says, picture yourself as a living mountain. Well, we're both poets. We can do something like that, don't you think?
I think so.
We can manage that. A living mountain with many streams, a microcosm of the very earth herself. We can do this. We can do that.
Right.
I suppose we should have a sit down, rub these fingers together. Our fingers. Each other's? No, our own fingers.
What are we doing?
We're supposed to rub our fingertips together.
He takes your hand and he rubs Adrian's fingertips.
Adrian pulls them back very quickly. No, I really don't think. I believe it's supposed to be our own fingertips.
Oh.
Our own.
Oh, I apologize.
Yes.
You have very soft hands.
Thank you. They don't do much work.
Shall we have a sit down on the floor? I'll get some pillows. He grabs some pillows from the couch and he puts them on the floor.
Do you have any wood for the fire? It might get a good atmosphere if we have the fire going.
Oh, I suppose.
If you can spare it.
Let's see. It is a bit chilly in here anyway. When was this, May?
Yeah.
Well, it's not chilly in here.
Well, perhaps not.
Hot meditation.
Yes, we'll sweat.
Well, it could be a spring chill.
All right, we'll say there's a spring chill, and so he gets some wood, and he struggles a bit to start a fire. Zachery normally does this.
Oh, well, certainly, I don't know how. What, you sort of poke it about?
My
Where do you
God.
get the fire from?
Don't even.
You both are so fucking useless at this.
I love it. It's so good.
He pokes it, and like, oh, see, we have a bit of ash going. No, that's the old ash.
Oh, God.
Do we have matches?
Yes. And he goes and he grabs some, and he
How do you
strikes it, and he fails, and then he strikes it and fails again, and then he strikes it. And it shocks him that it created a fire, so then he drops it, and then it goes out in the ashes.
Zachary's might get mad that you're wasting these.
I'm not wasting them.
Oh, okay. You're learning. I'm learning. We're both learning. Shall I try? Would you like me to?
No, I've got it.
All right. Okay.
He strikes it again, and then it lights, and he like points this out to you. And then he puts it under the logs and tries to catch like.
With no kindling?
There's paper in there.
Is there?
Daniel's
There is
right
now. He gets
it.
up and he puts some newspaper in there. Feed
Zach's
the fire.
voice comes to him through the mists, chastising him
Put
with
some
no
kindling in
kindling.
With no
kindling.
kindling. And then he has trouble with his priorities, so he actually gets up with the match in hand, grabs the newspaper,
Daniel.
lights the newspaper on fire while he's holding
Daniel.
it, walks it over to the fireplace, and then puts it under the log.
I really can't see why Zachary normally does this. Did that work? Did it work? They both crouched there by the fire.
They sit there inhaling the smoke close to their faces as they watch.
Did you open the chimney flume?
No.
No.
Oh
Adrian
my
would not know
God.
about that either.
They watch it, and then Daniel starts coughing, then he realizes, oh! And then he opens the chimney flame.
Oh, what is that? They close?
Yes,
Oh,
just in case.
that makes sense.
He realizes he doesn't understand what the in case would be. He
That's
thinks about
alright.
birds, ghosts. Can ghosts get through the chimney? When there's a nice crackle going in the fireplace, he sits down on one of the pillars.
All right, very good. All right, we've got that, and now it's mountain time.
Mountain time.
Mountain time.
All right. Have you ever meditated before?
Adrian squints. Well, I suppose it depends what qualifies as meditation. I've certainly sat in stupors before.
I suppose. I mean, if it led to introspection.
Perhaps a bit too much.
Well, then I suppose that's a form of meditation. Anyway, it's not really about emptying your mind. It's more of having a focus. And I guess we can focus on what it's said to focus on.
Right. Adrian pulls the book back out. Hang on. Intent. Your intent.
So it comes from the chest, right?
Yes. Imagine a warm, glowing light in your chest right next to your heart, but perfectly centered.
I see.
We have to imagine this as a flowing spring. That's where the mountain comes in.
I see.
Oh, there's something about electricity here. Oh, that's the fingers. We've got electricity in our fingers.
Oh.
That's the intent. Wait. It might not be literal electricity.
Oh. Magic?
Yes, the intent. The intention, which I think is the magic.
I see. He holds his head. This is a bit more difficult than I thought.
And we've got all day.
Right. Oh, he crosses his legs, and he puts his palms up on his knees.
Should I do that?
And he closes his eyes. And he opens them again, and he's like, sure. But you can place your palms up or down.
I see.
Whether you are seeking grounding or you are ready to receive something from the universe.
Adrian squints at him.
I've meditated a few times. My uncle said it would be good for me.
All right, well, we'll give it a try. And he very stiffly, crosses his little legs because he's not very flexible.
They're also kind of wearing tight pants. They just hear a squeak.
Yeah.
It's that leather sound that they use in anime whenever somebody clenches their fist.
Yeah.
He closes his eyes again. They can hear the crackling of the fire. They can hear people outside passing by. Someone shouts something at someone else. Daniel gets a bit peeved. I'm a mountain.
Yes,
He whispers
you're a
to himself.
strong mountain.
I'm a strong
A
mountain.
tall peak. What kind of mountain do you think you would be?
A snowy one.
Oh, see, I was thinking a verdant green, luscious mountain for myself.
Oh. He opens his one eye. That's surprising.
I like nature, believe it or not, just not being in it.
I
stare for days at paintings of nature.
Yes, I love looking at it.
So they try.
So they try.
And so they try.
All right, let's get back to the action.
Damn.
Liam and Zach, you've entered the meal hall. Not many people here. Some people are eating breakfast that they brought from home. You just saw, or Zachery recognized that person. Liam, because you had a moderately successful roll, you have noticed that there is something kind of vaguely familiar about this person who just left, and you've noticed that Zachery has stood completely still, as if hit by a realization.
Mm-hmm.
As I've said before, this is the main dining area. Over there is the prep kitchen, and his eyes follow the person. Which way are they headed?
Down the hallway to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, towards the expertise library, or towards the meeting rooms, or towards the stairs down to the 4th level.
Which is all very fascinating, he says, and if you will please follow me quickly this way.
Well, certainly.
He kind of very quietly follows where this person is going. When she's already passed into the hall, he doesn't go to the hall itself, but he does, scooch into the line of sight so he can see, which way she's going. If she goes to the 4th floor, if she's going to the
hunter's meeting
the meeting room or the library.
So the door is open, and you do see this person take a key from their pocket, turn to the left, and open the locked staircase.
No shit.
And go in.
No shit. Oh my god, they have a key to the 4th floor.
Yes.
Zachery looks immediately back at Liam to see if he saw that.
Liam nods.
It's very fascinating, the dining room, isn't it?
Yes, certainly.
If you follow me this way, I can take us down to the meeting rooms. This is a good place in which your money will go into. Facilities for the hunters. He's rambling off as he's going down the hall.
Where are you going?
He's going down the hall, out of the meal hall, and then going to be turning right to the hunter meeting practice room.
Okay.
Did that person leave the door unlocked behind them?
No.
Poopy.
They went to the left. You're going to the right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Different area.
Yeah.
So you had
So we saw, basically we saw them go down to the 4th floor.
Yes.
And now Zachery's idea is to lead Liam to a quiet place where he can talk at length with him in this plan. So he drags him into one of the empty rooms, and he locks the door.
Wait.
Is that allowed?
Roll a d20 for me.
Fucking
Catelyn shouldn't be going in there.
Why not? I thought they're just general meeting rooms.
They're
Someone
for
might be
hunters.
using them.
Does he not even knock? He just busts in.
Oh, I thought this was a toilet.
You know what? He's just awkward enough. Oh!
Can you read that out loud?
It's a 4.
Ah, cool. So you open one of these doors, and there are 7 hunters sitting at a table, and they look at you.
Oh, I beg your pardon. He says, and he closes the door. And he backs out. Are you, is there no way to look into these doors? I should have asked that first, I guess, if we're going to be tricksy little hobbits about this.
No windows in the door.
Motherfucker. All right.
I'd go to the
Very
library.
few windows in this place.
All right. Well,
You hear some people are practicing in certain rooms. You hear a lot of very dangerous sounds and thumps, clangs of metal.
Mm-hmm.
Roll another d20 for me.
Oh, Liam is gonna put a reassuring hand on Zach's shoulder very quickly, just calm down. It's all right.
18.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, where do you go?
He's gonna say, well, I was hoping to give you a tour of the offices themselves, but as they seem to be occupied at the moment, I think perhaps we best skip the individual office visits and go straight to the other library. Now, you can't check any of the books out here. Very rarely can people do that, except without express permission, but I think you'll find it interesting nonetheless to see where your money would be going into in terms of restoration. He's still rattling all this stuff off as he leads them into the library.
Wait, before you get me into the library, what's that door there at the end of the hallway?
The mystery door?
Along the
one at the end of the hallway for the meeting rooms.
Oh, he pauses. I don't actually know.
And there's no reason to hurry off into the library just yet. Perhaps some of these hunters would allow us to look in on their practice. I'm here not only to see the building, after all.
His eyes widen, and he kind of gives you a little, are you sure glance. If you don't waver, he sort of just nods and goes, yes, of course, I'm sure that can be arranged. Would you follow me then? He's gonna go knocking at one of the doors that are practice rooms.
Roll d20.
Okay. Fuck! 2. Fuck!
A 2,
Why?
huh?
God!
Okay.
It's all right.
All right.
Be okay.
It's the same alright to you. Nothing is okay.
Okay, so you are opening a meeting room?
He's knocking.
Knocking.
You're knocking.
Knocking.
Oh, okay.
Jesus.
I feel like Zach is getting more and more tightly wound. And Liam's just like, it's cool. It's chill. It's all right.
So,
Uh-huh.
you knock on this door, and you weren't aware that there was a lot of sound in this room until it stops. You more of feel someone approach the door, and they turn the knobs slowly, and they open. And you see a man in front of you who has straight blonde hair, shortly cropped, blue eyes, chiseled jaw, looks strong and built, also has like sort of a classic beauty to him. Picture David from the Alien prequels. So Michael Fassbender trying to look like Peter O'Toole.
All right.
Zachery feels this man and knows for a fact he is a Manus. And the man's eyes widen slightly.
Super cool and fun. Super cool and fun.
The man stares at Zachery.
Gonna puke ribbons. Alright.
and he looks over to Liam with slightly less interest, but he looks back to Zachery and he says, "Gentlemen."
Good day, sir. I apologize for the disturbance, but this is Mr. Bardsley of Bardsley Bank. He is a prospective investor here and wishes to see some of the training that goes on in this facility. I know this is a bit of a surprise, and I apologize for putting you on the spot, but might Mr. Bardley see what 2 trained hunters look like when they are performing?
He had stared at you, Zachery, in your eyes completely. You don't see him blink. And his expression is completely emotionless.
I don't like that. I don't like it.
And then he glances at Liam, and he does blink. He is human. And
Maybe.
for the most part, and then he looks back at Zachery and he says, "You wished to see a performance like a dog."
Liam chimes in at this point and he says, "If you're busy, I understand that I'm interrupting your workday with this request, so I wouldn't want to make it unnecessarily. I was simply interested if there was any hunter who was currently sparring. I merely wish to watch. I'm a bit of a hand with the sword myself and was interested to know what the investments of Bardsley Bank would potentially be going towards. But if you haven't the time for it, could you at least make introductions for us to other hunters who would be in the middle of their sparring?"
Oh, thank God for him.
Both of you roll a d20.
All right.
Can I add anything?
Not right now.
No persuasion?
No,
Okay.
It's just a sex.
you have a 6. I'm going to do a contesting roll against
Didn't
you.
get my
Why?
dice ahead of time. Hang on.
Though.
Oops, I got a 3.
Mm.
Lucky you.
I got a 7.
I'm gonna puke.
We all did poorly.
We all just stare blankly at each other.
The man blinks. He's a bit tired, clearly a bit rustled that you interrupted him in the middle of whatever he was doing. And he says, "That is quite unaccustomed. We never show investors these rooms."
Yes, and I did try to explain that, Zachery chimes in, but with such an important investment as Bardsley Bank, I had perhaps considered that maybe we might make an exception.
Roll a d20.
Oh my god.
Both of you.
All right.
I had a feeling I'd really
Yeah.
From your score, subtract 1.
What?
5.
From both of us, or
Yes,
just from Zach?
Both of you.
So I got a 14, so -1 is 13.
Okay, I got a 9. So, Liam doesn't feel anything,
Mm-hmm.
but Zachery starts to feel a little cloudy in the head.
No, what are you doing to my boy?
I see. People can often be very persistent.
I apologize. This was rather improper. Mr. Bardsley, do you think we could perhaps schedule a different time in which you might be able to see hunters perform?
Liam breathes deeply and leans back and says, "Well, if you should happen to have any bit of simple fencing later on today, just as a display of the hunter's prowess, do keep me in mind. But I can see that we're interrupting you, so perhaps we can continue the tour elsewhere."
Yes, of course. I deeply apologize for interrupting you and hope that this hasn't eaten too much into your time, sir. And he is bowing and he says, Mr. Bardsley, this way. He starts leading him away.
Before Liam lets Zach lead him away, he turns back around and says, I did insist, so don't let this reflect poorly on the poor little fellow over there. I was rather persistent. I'm just, as a sportsman, I was rather curious, so...
Stop talking to him!
Roll a d20.
All right.
No! Do I have to?
Yes, all together.
Yeah.
Zach walked away. He's not part of it. Leave him alone.
He is part of it.
No.
9.
9. Subtract 2 from both of yours.
7.
I swear to God.
Ooh, I got a nat 20.
Thank you,
Okay.
God!
Minus 2 is 18.
Even for a nat 20?
But a nat...
A nat 20.
A nat 20.
A nat 20.
A nat 20.
A nat
You don't,
20.
you don't
Nat
subtract from a nat 20.
You don't subtract from a nat 20.
Nat
Is that-
20.
Yeah,
Is
that's...
that okay.
It's real.
Yeah, that's
It's
real.
real.
That's why it's so highly coveted and prized, and
Okay. All right.
it is the saving grace.
Okay. So Liam feels nothing,
Ugh.
and the man looks at Liam because Liam had been speaking with him, and he said, I see. What was the man's name? And Liam does not feel compelled to give Zachary's name, but Zachary feels a compulsion to reveal his name to this man.
I feel it, but
Okay, roll d20 again. Liam doesn't have to do anything, but you do. And I want you to subtract 3, but I want you to add your resolve.
oh, thank you.
So that's a +4 for you, so whatever you score, add a 1.
4.
14.
Okay.
14, and I got a 6. So Zachary swallows that strange compulsion like a piece of vomit coming up his throat.
Oh God.
But his heart is pounding, it is racing, and he cannot wait to get out of there. It is sickening to look at this man, like staring from a great height.
Yeah, he's doing his best to stand as still as possible while still trying to look as normal and conversational as possible.
I'm sorry I've made you make these rolls, but Liam has been not feeling anything.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah.
just oh, this guy's mad. I don't want to get Zach in trouble with his boss.
No, I don't care. I think
Yeah.
I think when you look at it like that, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's just yeah, I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah.
So this man asked Liam, who was not compelled at all by this man,
Mm-hmm.
to reveal Zachary's name, and he's waiting for the response.
Oh, okay. He says, oh, yes, his name was Mr. Wilkins, I think? Mr. Wilkins, I think. Yes, Mr. Wilkins. He says that with confidence.
He says that. He definitely says that
Yeah.
like a rich boy who doesn't give a fuck about peons' names.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna tip his hat and then turn around to leave now.
Okay, you guys
Yeah.
are leaving.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
please.
leaving. He's leaving for real.
Yes, please.
The man does call after Zachary and says, "Is that true?"
Oh, fuck.
Fuck
Go back to practicing, you asshole. Do I have to roll?
Roll against me.
Oh my god.
Subtract 4, but add your resolve, so that's a +4, so it's 0. So whatever your score is. Well, lucky you, I got a 7.
Come on.
Oh, you got a 7.
A 7.
I got a 7 as well.
Ooh. Can he just be
We just stare intensely at each other.
Roll again.
Oh, fuck.
Motherfucker. God. 17.
17, I got a 12.
Oh, okay. Eat my entire ass. Okay.
Is that what Zach says to
No.
this guy?
Could you imagine?
Turns around, eat my entire ass, and then just
Oh my
runs down the hallway.
So
Oh my god, that was so intense.
That was awesome.
he asked if it was true that your name is Mr. Wilkins, and you say,
Yes.
he stares after you.
Come along,
And he
Wilkins.
says, "Very well. Good morning, gentlemen." And he closes the door. When you're out of his line of sight, when you don't hear his voice anymore, when he's not in the room with you, you feel so much better. Like someone who was gazing down at a great height and then backed off, and now you're on solid ground again.
Right. Come this way, Mr. Bardsley.
Can Liam
has
tell?
no idea.
Can Liam tell that Zach is really shaken up?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if it's only the two of us in the hall,
Yeah.
he's kind of trying to keep it together as best as possible, but
Mhm.
I would say this guy was kind of trying to have a hold on him, and being released from that fog, he gives sort of a visual like a breath.
Mhm.
So he does look a bit shaken,
Okay.
and he leads him away.
Liam will kind of lean down a little bit and be like, "You all right? Do you know that person?"
I've never met that person before in my life.
You look a little peaky.
Yes, well, accountants don't have the best complexions, especially locked away down here as we are.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cause offense.
Oh.
I just meant that you looked a little, shaken, I suppose.
By no means, he says, turning, and he's still addressing you like you're not friends.
Okay.
And he goes, oh, by no means, I apologize, it was a bit of a jest.
Ah, I see. Well, off to the library then.
Yes, he says, and he looks at you with the insistence of, like, I will explain there.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys head down the hallway again. You pass the locked door to the 4th level, and then you've got this expertise library. So you are going there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is another circular room. It's got another pillar in the middle, but it is a lot bigger than the common library. There's nothing wrong with you guys being here, at least Zachery. But you don't know if Liam is allowed here or not.
Yeah.
But there are, again, like circular kind of spokes of a wheel, like rows of books and things like that. There's a bunch of different sections. There's a section on different types of magic. There's a section on werewolves. There's a section on vampires. There's a section on like witches and angels and demons and how to deal with certain injuries. There's like a medical section, stuff like that. So it's more for hunters and hunter information and training hunters and squires and things like that. And none of it is more in depth than the common library, but none of it is like exclusive detail that Zachery won't be allowed to look at.
Mm-hmm. What about the people? Are there folks hanging around?
Yes, there's quite a few hunters. There's a few young-looking people who are presumably squires.
Mm-hmm.
They look a little skinny in their hunter's attire. They have a slightly different uniform. It's like a heavy leather for all the hunters. They just have a slightly different color. People are not paying too much attention to you guys.
He was hoping it would be a bit emptier, but of course this library has to be the one that's occupied, so he just continues looking around as if trying to find somewhere, but it feels like it's too occupied to speak freely.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
I was hoping to go into one of the practice rooms, but I guess that's not a fucking option.
Anyway.
It's all right. Liam has some ideas. Is there a librarian in this library as well?
Yes, there's 2 librarians. One of them is an older, very stern-looking lady with her hair up in a bun, and she's wearing like some drab, dark gray dress and a shawl to keep warm. Then there is a younger woman who seems a bit mousier. She's got red hair.
All right. Liam is going to walk over and is first going to approach the young lady and is going to say, "Good morning, miss.
Oh, good morning.
My name is Mr. Bardsley, and I'm here representing the interests of Bardsley Bank." And he's going to kind of like drum his fingers on the counter and look a little bit sheepish about it. Like he's not putting on his haughty persona right now. He's like, "Oh, I'm just here doing some stuff, trying to be non-threatening."
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to say, I was really just curious. You've got such a magnificent library here, and it's wildly impressive to me that the church has been able to amass so many books in such a short amount of time since they've entered the public for protection and everything. Would you be able to teach me a little bit? I don't know very much, and I was wondering if you could give me a rundown on how this all works. He's smiling a lot.
She blushes from this friendly gent, but also she looks a little rattled, and she looks around for the other librarian. Oh, yes, of course. Just a moment. If you'll pardon me. And then she gets up and she goes to fetch the other librarian.
Meanwhile, Zachery comes over to Liam and goes, pardon me. What are you doing?
Well, as an accountant, you have given me a wonderful rundown of some of the financial aspects of the church and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping that some of the people here might be able to tell me a little bit more about the hunters, about the hierarchy, about how things work out here, what all the building possesses. Perhaps even beyond what you have knowledge of.
His eyebrows raise and he feels a little more relaxed at this, and he nods and he goes, oh, of course. That's a wonderful idea, so... He looks around. He's still a bit shaken, so he's kind of trying to get back into the swing of what he was before that.
The older woman comes over with the younger woman. She bows slightly to Liam and says, hello, I presume you are Mr. Bardsley.
Yes, that's me. May I ask your name?
Yes, I am Gretchen.
Gretchen, it's lovely to meet you. My friend here has been giving me a tour, and like I told the young miss over there, I was really fascinated and wondering if you could give me a bit more history on this place. I'm just really fascinated by it, and just whatever you could tell me, I'd be wildly curious.
Of course. Yes. Please follow me. Then you guys can follow her. And she points to a section. She says, "We have collected many different books about all the things that can educate our hunters to better defend the city. As you see here, we have books about magic and witches so that we know how to handle them, books about werewolves, vampires, medical practices, all to ensure that we can better serve London and keep it safe."
Liam is nodding his head, and then something occurs to him, and he says, "My word. Now, you see, I had no idea that such things as that existed. Well, you'll pardon me if I look a little bit shaken, but, the lay person of London is not privy to such things." And then he gets kind of a conspiratorial whisper and says, "Is it safe to assume that the church has been defending the streets for longer than it has made its presence known?" And he kind of winks a little bit.
She smiles at you, but there's no mirth in her eyes. I do not know what you are implying.
Of course. I'm sorry. That was untoward of me. Anyway, continue, please. I interrupted you.
Here we have ghosts and paranormal sightings and various blessings that can be performed.
Who performs those blessings?
Our hunters are trained in various blessings and skills of exorcism.
Exorcisms, really? And all of this stuff about, the vampires and the werewolves, do the hunters just go out and take care of them? He draws a hand across his neck.
Zachery kind of looks at him when he does that, like, what the?
She smiles again and says, "Yes, of course, to protect the city."
Well, Bardsley Bank obviously has a vested interest in the safety of the people of London and the people who are putting their money into our bank, obviously. So I will rest easy knowing that the hunters are doing hard work in here.
I am very glad to hear that. She bows her head slightly. Will there be anything else?
Is there any more you can tell me about the history of this building? Is it protected from all of the beasties out there?
I'm afraid the methods the church goes to securing our building are rather secret.
Well, that's understandable, but, as an investor, I suppose I'm just double-checking to make sure that it does have appropriate safety measures.
Zachery is going to take this moment to quietly nudge his foot into Liam, like, back off.
The woman, bows her head and says, "You can be assured we are very protected."
I see. Can you tell me any more about...
Fucking... What? Quit it. Quit asking questions.
That's what he's here to do. He's here to be presumably just sort of a fop.
Yeah, I think he needed to back off of that topic, but I think he should still ask questions.
Yeah. He's supposed to be this sort of unassuming fop who can get away with asking these kind of outlandish questions.
I like that character.
Yeah, with nobody, clocking him about it.
I'm just stressed.
Oh, yeah.
Really good Adrian's not there.
Adrian and Daniel are just sweating while they're meditating because
the fire
peek open an eye and they're like, "How do you think they're doing over there?"
I sure hope they're doing well. Better than this.
So now Liam is gonna take the conversation in a slightly, what he considers a safer avenue, and he's gonna put his hands behind his back. I remember from my schooling days, I would learn about the old castles and monasteries of England, and I always heard, it would take an entire village to keep one of these places running. Things like, the minor considerations that nobody ever really puts thought into, the details like the food and, cemeteries. These places would have all of their own cemeteries. What about this church? Does it have something similar?
Yes, of course. We have a hospital above ground, employed with doctors. We have a cemetery. Many of the London folk are buried there, those who are privileged enough.
Oh, I see. Is there access to the cemetery from the upper level, from the street, for those visiting their relatives?
Unfortunately, they need permission to come in, but when the cathedral is open for services, the cemetery is also open.
And Mass is tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Mass is tomorrow.
Wednesday evening Mass is tomorrow.
Ha.
And do you have gardens here as well?
Yes, we do. The cloister was recently converted into a garden for our specific needs. There are many herbs. She would say herbs. There are many herbs that are of use to our hunters, and so they are grown there.
You don't say.
We also have an orchard above ground for specific pieces of wood, such as rosewood for the stakes.
Herbs, you say? Is there anything that you would recommend me putting around my house?
She thinks about it for a moment. Garlic.
Garlic? How very continental.
Ooh, Zachary, for a weird
Some Italian herbs.
Yeah, for a moment, Zachary, that knocked him out of whatever he was thinking before, and he just looked at Liam like, what? And then he remembered himself and looks back to the floor. He is going to make fun of him for that later, though.
I shall have to ask my manservant to pick me up some garlic, then. Well, another thing I suppose it would be pertinent for me to know as an investor is who makes the decisions around here.
We have members of the clergy who make the decisions, as well as the bishop.
The bishop?
Yes.
So, would you say this church, I saw saints up in the nave. Does this technically count as a branch of the Catholic Church? Or would you say you're more associated with the Church of England? Or none of the above?
She thinks about it and thinks about the best way to answer this question. And then she smiles at you and she says, "We are a very unique organization."
Zachary nods along with her.
That's all the information she's giving you.
Okay. Well, I'm a bit of a sportsman myself, and so I was wondering, what sort of training do the hunters get? Is it martial training? Is it training with these herbs that you've mentioned?
Unfortunately, I cannot go into too much detail, for I myself do not know.
They're certainly powerful enough to go toe-to-toe with a vampire, then, one assumes.
Yes, of course.
Mr. Bosley.
Wait, just a moment. Liam kind of, brushes him off just a little bit.
He bristles, but he calms down.
So if these hunters are presumably trained in combat and whatnot from an early age, and Liam sort of gestures towards the younger members who are walking around with their different robes and everything, what would happen if a rogue hunter, now just hypothetically speaking, I'm sure you keep the strictest standards, but what would happen if one of these chaps decided to go walking about in London with this whatever sort of training they've received? Surely local law enforcement would be no match for them. And now, this is surely just a technical question, because Bardsley Bank can't be, how to put this delicately, it can't be putting its money behind an organization that is essentially unchecked. So if, hypothetically, something were to happen with one of these hunters, or, even with the best of intentions, if they were to be taken over in some way or drawn by worldly desires, what would happen to these hunters? Do you have punitive measures?
We do indeed.
I see. Do you kill them?
Does he ask that?
Could you imagine?
If she's really silent, then yeah, let's keep that.
Do you kill them?
Really ask it?
He's gonna.
Says, do you kill them?
What he's gonna do, I'm gonna deliver it a little bit differently, is if she's silent after that, she's like, yes, we do. And that's all she says.
That's all she says.
And Liam's gonna chuckle. He's gonna be like, do you make them walk the plank?
Rest assured, we take transgressions of that sort extremely seriously.
Well, I suppose that's reassuring in its own way. A self-policing body of law.
Indeed.
No worries there.
He didn't say that.
No, he said it. That was sotto voce. And then he's going to think for a minute and he's going to say, well, what are you most proud of about the church? What do you think is its most shining quality?
Its vast array of knowledge. She spreads her hands, indicating the library where she works.
Am I allowed to take a gander through any of these books?
Please.
That's very generous of you, and thank you so kindly for your time. This has definitely given me a great deal to report back to my father with.
I'm very pleased to hear that.
Yikes.
And she bows to you, and then she leaves, and you can see her whisper something to the younger librarian. The younger librarian looks back at Liam for a second, and then they both walk away.
What was her face like whenever the younger one, what was her face like when she looked over?
Well, she's been kind of on edge the entire time. So she was a little concerned and on edge and scared when she looked at Liam.
If Liam catches that, he'll probably smile and give a little wave.
She smiles back as well, but it's a grimace and gives a little wave and then runs off.
Grim place. Oh, that librarian gave me the chills. Very stern old woman.
I don't feel like Zachery runs into this woman very often, but he's probably seen her at a distance.
Yeah, how often does Zachery visit the expertise library?
Really not often. I think he did it once to see if he could, get his ward in. Oh. Zachery already carries a magical item into the everyday.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a way, and he knows how to do it. And you gotta tell me!
You gotta research it.
I wanted to take a fright because that last thing did him a good scare.
The last thing being his interaction with the Manus, not the interaction with the librarian.
Manos.
Manos. Is it getting closer to lunchtime whenever folks would start appearing in the meal hall, or is it still pretty early in the day?
It's still pretty early. It's around 9:30 now.
Does Zachery have an idea about looking for books on, wards and magical items or something to do some research? Does he have that idea?
There are books on that.
Okay.
And he starts leading Liam around because he sort of thought of it. After Liam had mentioned his with the librarian, he said, yes, she does love her job, he says, not knowing what else to say, but he put his hand on his chest in thought and remembered. Nobody else, of course, can see it, but there's a small bump there where his locket is.
When it touches his skin and he's pressing it to him, he feels more of the heat, and it hurts a little.
He takes his hand away and he remembers. There's actually a very interesting section, he says, turning to him suddenly, that I think would catch your interest, especially with the topics you had discussed earlier. Right this way. And he shows him over to the section where he knows there to be books on
magic.
Magage.
Yes, there are books on Magage, and roll a d20.
No.
Both of you. If Liam is also
yeah, Liam will help.
Looking,
I'll take a peek.
I want you guys to add your wisdom.
Okay.
I got 23. I got a 17 plus 6.
My boy don't read too good.
That's a 1.
That's a 1.
Oh, it was.
It was a 1.
Oh.
Adding your wisdom.
He's a jock.
Well, it was a nat 1.
It was a nat 1.
So
it just fails.
Liam
I'm looking
is
for
still,
pretty pictures.
Liam's still thinking about that librarian and how many chills she gave him. So he's not paying attention at all, even when Zachery drags him to the magic section. But Zachery sees a lot of different labels. He sees books on different types of magic. He sees books on wards, how to create them. He sees books on healing magic, books on angelic magic, books on demonic magic, books on necromancy. He finds copies of very old European and from other parts of the world copies of books that are famous magical texts, such as stuff by Agrippa.
Oh, jeez.
Some Schools of Solomon sort of magic. And he finds a book completely on protection. He finds a book completely on magic compatibility. He finds a book on hypnosis. He finds a book on...
He finds a lot of books.
Okay, great. Okay.
You went into list mode there.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was like, is this pertinent?
I'm the list mode.
Okay, so he sees a lot of books. What I'm gonna say he's looking for in particular is the book he looked into when wanting to sneak his own ward onto the premises. Which book did he check out?
He can look at different types of magic, and he can look at magic compatibility.
Great, he takes those two. These in particular you'll find most fascinating. Of course, we can't check these out without express permission, and I would say because you are not a ward, the express permission is not there, but we can take a gander at them while you're still here. And he opens them and he quickly thumbs and he to the page that has information about that.
Pretty much the introduction of the different types of magic is pretty useful for outlining different types of magic. There is stuff called light magic, which is volatile with dark magic, and it uses a direct connection with the divine. This is an extremely rare type of magic. There is angelic magic, which uses chants, sigils, and intention, and magic lettering, runes, and such. Common magic draws power from the self. It uses intention and physical objects.
Okay.
So this is familiar to Zachery. Zachery uses this type of magic. He uses physical items to put in his ward and his locket, and like the embroidery on the cloaks being the spell is a type of common magic. There is another type of magic called dark magic. It is volatile with light magic. It is not as rare as light magic, but it is still kind of an outlier in this bell curve. The most common magic you will find is common magic, followed by angelic magic, dark magic, and light magic at the end. Dark magic is what people in contact with demons use. Necromancers use it. People talking with the dead using darker energy sort of things. Roll a d20 for me and add your wisdom.
You got it.
Go, Zach, go.
17.
Okay. Zachery is aware that the type of magic he does is common magic. He's also aware that the church is primarily based upon the foundations of angelic magic.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
Look in the compatibility book.
Okay, I'm gonna look in the compatibility book.
Okay, roll another d20. You're flipping through the magic compatibility book.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Ooh.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Okay, you find exactly what you're looking for.
Hell yeah.
You find that light magic and dark magic are volatile with each other. They do not work. They're not compatible. You get a larger description of angelic magic. It is mentioned that it is kind of a strong neutral magic. The Manus use this type of magic. The church uses this type of magic, this angelic magic. You can decide to do good things with it, but essentially it is contacting highly powerful celestial beings who are angels or what are described as celestial entities. It's a little unclear, but these magics are compatible with one another.
So, okay, wait. Let me reorient my brain for myself. I'm using this book, I'm looking in it to try and see if the magical items that we have can be snuck onto the premises. That is my goal. I already know that, to some degree, Zachery can sneak the thing that he carries with him every single day onto the premises, but not without, like, a touch of burning. The only thing I want to know is, can what we enchant come onto the premises without hurting us or, like, hitting some invisible wall? That's what I want to glean from this, and I don't quite understand the descriptions and the compatibilities.
It has to do with how you imprint it. So, common magic can be converted to angelic magic.
Oh, okay. So in terms
angelic
of
magic
gameplay, we have to
can
call up Fergus and be like, hey, put some funk on these for us, please.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Fergus, can you put some real stink on these guys?
Can you make him a little angelic? Can you and your little crow buddies angel these up a little?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are we reading that correctly? Oh, wait, or maybe you can't tell us?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Jesus.
I feel like we're going in the right direction,
Yeah.
though. I feel like if the church is using angelic magic and we get Fergus to
Spit
put
on
the
him.
whammy on these guys, on our amulets and whatnot.
Are we sure? Because Fergus can't go in that place.
Fergus cannot enter the church. So light magic is connection to the divine.
So he's probably got light magic?
Okay, so he's got light magic.
'Cause
These
he's an
include
angel.
miracles,
Okay.
and they do not involve any chanting
Oh,
or
okay, yeah.
anything.
Okay, so he's got light magic.
Okay.
Angelic magic, confusingly, not what your angel friend uses,
Great. Fucking
is
kid.
involves sigils, chanting, magical lettering.
Right, and that makes sense for what the church is using.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Common magic involves some incantations and physical objects, not really like magical runes or anything.
Okay.
And no sigils, really.
Alright.
Can we look in a book of, like, angelic magic to...
Sure, you can research more angelic magic.
pick up some chants and some magical... There's just another way. We won't ask Fergus. We'll put our own stink on him.
Right, because Fergus can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we gotta figure out...
Because he's an angel, but he's using light magic. So to put some angelic magic on these guys, we have to find a book, get us some sigils, or maybe some magic words, or some magical letters.
Right.
Can I help look for this book? If Zach tells me, you know, it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll help look.
Right now, Zach's been reading alone.
Okay.
Kevin in the house alone.
I mean, I got on that one that other time, so...
Oh,
Okay.
I would like to say that he, like, has turned the pages and showed Liam. He's
Okay.
sharing this knowledge with him.
Okay.
Like, as we're discussing this, they're discussing this.
Okay.
But maybe not in so many words in front of everybody.
Yeah. Definitely with a lot less exasperation.
I'm adding wisdom to this?
Yeah.
Yes.
I got a 16!
Not bad.
Cool. You guys have found a book that directly pertains to angelic magic.
Okay.
It seems fairly common that the aim of this is normally to, like, draw power from what are referred to as celestial beings.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice that a lot of times the words angel and demon are kind of interchanged. And Liam, you notice that a lot of the names of angels are actually names of demons that you're more familiar with. But they're being called angels here. And they're placed alongside very famous angels like Gabriel and Michael and Uriel and things like that. And
Maybe we need Carrion to put some stink on them.
I'm like a little lost, I'm gonna be honest, but I kind of needed a yes or a no, even if I have to roll for it, because otherwise I don't really understand the descriptions.
Okay, what is the question?
The question is there anything useful in these books that will give me the information I need to help sneak these magical artifacts onto the grounds?
Yes. And the clear answer is Zachery is most familiar with common magic, which is not compatible with the church's angelic magic. The church's angelic magic actually seeks out and destroys common magic, which is how they can find witches and things like that.
So, but how come his little locket word hasn't, like, exploded?
It hurts him and it pains him.
But they can't tell
every
it's
day.
there?
Maybe it's just too small.
It is very small and it doesn't have a large amount of energy. It's not like a big spell that's in it.
Okay, so that's really important to know. So this is also depending on how much energy there is. Okay, so is there anything in this book that I can take some sigils, and if we put those sigils onto the magic that we have, can that cloak it in that sense to allow it in?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what okay.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know.
I feel like this is a kind of like a puzzle game, basically. So, like, we have to solve part of the puzzle far enough for Chess to be able to give us the answer on this. Is that right?
Yeah.
So we
have to find the right questions.
Yeah,
too.
we have to
Yeah.
work through the clues to figure out the right questions to ask.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I
what
figured-
we need now, and I think you phrased it in a really good way. Like you're good at delineating what our gameplay mission is right now. So what we need now is we need to find out how do we apply angelic magic.
Yes.
Nice.
You find that oftentimes you need contact with an angelic being or a celestial being of neutral energy.
Okay.
This book refers to it and uses the terms demon and angel interchangeably. Liam noticed that many of the angels had names that he associates with demons and has been told were demons. Like Baal is in there. Like a lot of the fallen angels are there too. And that a lot of the point of angelic magic is to contact these higher beings and then ask them questions, interrogate them. There are charts for how to do that. There are sigils you guys can write down, but essentially you need a combination of sigils, incense, magical lettering, and connection to a higher being.
Okay. Liam is gonna, wherever it says like neutral energy, is gonna like point that out to Zach and kind of raise his shoulders in a kind of a
Okay, so there are ways to do it, and it does involve those guys. Okay, so that basically answers our question, right?
Yeah, I think we know as much as we can know for now. Before we leave the library, can Liam take a peek over and see if there's a section on Fae?
Yes.
Okay. Shall I roll for that?
Yes.
Okay. Because bless him, he still wants to figure out if there's a way to like call Robin to be like, hey, can we get our memories back? You said that you would, give us a reward. You owe us a favor.
Hey, yo.
You're Robin. Am I adding wisdom again?
Yes.
That's an 18.
We're good.
What are you looking for specifically? Ways to contact the Fae?
Mm-hmm.
You do find a lot of books on the Fae and what to do when you're in front of them in specific situations and what not to do, what absolutely not to do. And you do find a book on how to contact them.
Wait, hold up. As Liam is reaching for this, can I do a perception check?
Yes.
Thank you.
What are you looking for?
I'm
See if
looking...
anybody's watching.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if anybody is, like, sticking their nose in our business or has been watching.
How loud were you guys talking?
Like, there's a lot that we were not saying out, like, I wish we had done more in character, but my assumption was that we were speaking, if we were speaking at all, we were speaking in a very coded way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I rolled a contesting roll. I got a 5.
I got 19.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, you are unbothered for now.
Okay,
Nice.
So it doesn't seem like anybody is around, so he can totally reach for this book and nobody's gonna be like, suspicious. Suspicious.
Yes, it
Awesome.
seems that way right now.
So he had previously grabbed Liam's arm without really thinking too much about, because he just sensed, like, they could be in danger. Like, don't touch that book. If somebody sees you pulling out a
Reading
book
how
for
to
the
contact the Fae.
and he does stop,
Sauce.
and he looks around, and he sees that nobody is looking at him, but he still holds on to Liam and goes, what are you doing?
Liam points at the Fae and kind of like taps his head a little bit.
Now?
What else?
It's around 10:30 now.
Yeah, I mean, Liam's idea is to wait until lunch to see if they can talk to more people in the cafeteria, so it's not exactly lunch yet, so he's gonna spend just more time looking around.
Oh, sure.
He got permission.
Yeah.
The scary old lady gave him permission.
Yeah, but Zachery's just like...
Oh, that makes sense for him. He's like on high alert right now.
Yeah, so he's just like... So he just looks at him, and then he gives him like a withering look, and then he takes his hand away and he folds his arms, allowing for Liam to reach for this book.
How do you contact? It's just
You
like
didn't
a...
wite this part, did you?
I did not plan for
Yeah.
you
I'm
guys
sorry.
to research the Fae, but Liam is searching through this book. Unfortunately, a lot of information about the Fae is quite nebulous. It doesn't seem like the church has a very definite way of contacting them. But Liam finds a collection of tips from successful accounts. They say things like go out into nature, into the woods, sit under a tree, play music, create a little altar in your home for the fairies to visit. No iron anywhere near that altar, like don't have iron on you. Be sure that your clothing is worn the right way and not inside out, or you may confuse the fairies. Avoid placing your altar for the fairy like in any smoke or near anything loud. And fairies seem to respond best to people who demonstrate a clear care for nature and animals. But unfortunately, it is not guaranteed that doing all these things will yield any results. It seems the Fae are quite a bit of a mystery to even the church.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, honestly, that makes sense. 99% of the time, if somebody's calling me, I'm just going to ignore it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick up that phone call. You kidding me?
No.
So it is kind of like going fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Not guaranteed to get anything.
Very good.
Roll
Can-
D20 again.
Oh.
All of you.
right.
All of us.
All of us, all right.
Been hanging around.
19.
Okay.
Hang on.
I got
Just
an
dropped
8.
it. 15.
Okay. People have not noticed you.
It's time to move.
Yeah, I do.
Can we, is it possible for us to fast forward to lunchtime?
You've been putzing around in the library for long enough. It took a lot of time to read everything that you just did and copy down the sigils, like find paper to copy it down and all that. So now it is noon, and this is typically when Zachery takes his lunch.
He informs Liam about this, and then he leads him out to the main mess area.
Yeah, you're on the same floor as that, and you are able to enter the meal hall. Lots more people are there. Lots of people. It's completely packed.
Yeah, Zachery is kind of quietly, just so that Liam can hear, he goes, so, you planning on mingling?
That's the idea. Do you see our friend from earlier?
He looks at him surprised. He's glad that he saw that person too, and he looks around. Can I do a perception roll?
Yes, perception roll.
14. Do I add anything to it? No. Okay.
Not for this one.
No.
Can I perceive?
Yes.
No.
14 still counts as moderate success. Okay, let me see. Just a 10.
Okay. You see a lot of hunters. Zachery sees a lot of his accounting people. And thankfully you do not see that really scary menace from before.
Okay, thank God.
Not yet, anyway.
No.
Don't
do that.
menacing.
He goes and eats in his car.
He
Doesn't seem like a
would.
very social chap.
Oh my God.
Well, Liam's gonna queue up to see what the food's like. Let me just queue up. Are there any, how about any of the younger
The
pages?
squires?
Squires. Were there any squires hanging around?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
There's hunters and squires.
Okay. Can we say that, like, Liam is, queued up for this cafeteria food and he can be next to some squires?
Sure.
Is that how it works? Okay.
Looming over them.
No.
Yes, there are
not.
lines.
He's tall.
Well, he's tall, but he's not gonna loom.
You can, if somebody's taller, so much taller than you, it feels like Lumen. It's just a joke. Okay. Not call him in a creep.
All right, I just want to make sure.
No.
His body language.
Body language.
A few people are looking at him because he's not a known figure.
Are you new here?
He kind of stands out with his long red hair and tall body. Mm-hmm. And his built body that's not in a hunter's uniform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Afternoon, lads.
Oh God! And now they hear his Irish accent too, so they absolutely know they've never seen you before.
Okay.
Are you talking to the person in front of you or behind you?
Oh, wherever the squires are.
Let's say Zachery's behind him, so he's probably talking to people in front of him.
Okay.
Let's say Squire's in front, and they kind of turn around and they see this tall Irishman, and they're like,
"Oh, hello."
Afternoon.
I'm a bit new here, as you could probably tell. I'm on a tour. This fellow over here has been showing me the ropes.
Zachery is like, "Don't point me out," but he doesn't say anything.
Stop including me.
And see, I've got a bit of a question, and I was hoping you could help me.
Zachery is just watching him.
They look around kind of like, is he allowed? All right. What's the question?
Well, I was just in the library from here, and I was told that the church as a whole has some of the finest fighters in London. Is that what you lads are training for?
Yes, actually. Can you roll a d20 and add your persuasion?
Yes. Yeah, so that's gonna be a 16. I think that's a success.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
The young man looks a bit proud when you mention the finest fighters. He says, yes, that's what I'm training for, actually.
That's wonderful. My name's Liam, by the way. What's your name?
Oh, Connor.
Oh.
Connor.
Sorry.
Well, Connor, I was wondering if you could help me. I am, no novice at fencing myself, and so I was wondering, who are some of the finest fighters here? Like, have you seen them spar? Like, who's the best of the best, the cream of the crop?
Oh, I see.
I mean, you look very strapping yourself, so no doubt, in training, you would blow them all away. But do you have a mentor? Like, who's the best of the best?
Oh, well, of course, the best would have to be he's about to say something, and then he gets kicked by the person in front of him.
Idiot.
Well, the specialists, I suppose. The person kind of growls at him, even so.
He was about to say something that started with M, right?
Yeah.
Zachery immediately knows. He's got to. It's got to be the Manus.
I'm not going to confirm or deny that.
That's
Okay.
fine.
That's all right.
I'll keep that as Zachery's highest suspicion and biggest fear.
It makes sense that would be his suspicion. Familiar as Zachery is with everything that he is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, these specialists, do you suppose any of them would be up for a friendly duel? Just, a bit of a game while I'm here.
Mr. Barnsley, what are you doing?
The squire laughs. And kind of looks you over, but thinks about it and is like, I don't know if that's allowed, sir. If you
Oh,
pardon me.
surely someone would humor me. I'm simply a lay person. It would be a very simple feat. Probably a bit of a spat, maybe work up the sweat a little bit.
You are quite an interesting lad.
Apologies, says Zachery. This must be very exciting being in the Church of Eternal Knighthood.
Liam, can you roll a d20, add your persuasion?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got a nat 20! Yo. I got a nat 20. Can I have a duel? 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 Give me a duel. Give me a duel. Please.
He's been so good.
The squire,
so good.
Squire strokes his chin and thinks about it and says, well, if you ask me, the cream of the crop, as you put it, the toughest hunter I've ever seen was Sir Solomon Winfrist.
Sir Solomon Winfrist. Perhaps he'd be amicable to a bit of a friendly challenge, do you suppose?
Oh, I don't know if he's amicable towards anything.
Zachery has a horrible feeling.
Well, who would be up for a challenge?
Oh, I don't know.
Zachery kind of thinks about it.
Who did you say you were again?
Well, it's a bit dull, I suppose, for someone like you, but I'm Mr. Bardsley, and I'm with the Bardsley Bank, and we're here to make investments. So what that means is, I want to make sure that I'm putting my money behind a reasonable backing. And for an organization that focuses on mostly fighting and hunting, you could consider this a way to have a friendly test of strengths. I know, it's rather dull for someone your age, I suppose, but it's something that I have to do it. I'd much rather just spend my time like you, having a bit of a spar.
Well, if you didn't mind, perhaps we could spar.
Zachery is just... What? Sparring one of the squires, Mr. Bardsley? I'm sure they are going to be more than able to spar with you.
Squires.
I've never fought a banker before. I have an account in Bardsley Bank, actually.
Well, we're very happy to have you. It's marvelous of you to be saving your money from such an early age, Connor. I applaud you. That's good forethought on your part.
You. That's what my father says.
Oh my god, Zachery wants to scream. What are you doing?
Hang on. There's method.
Zach. Today has been nothing but hang on, Zach.
He wants to get some bodily fluids out of somebody.
Adrian knows what's up. He's trying to get sweat, which is why he's going to say next, he's going to be like, well...
Very smart.
What if we had...
Zachery doesn't know this.
What if we had an audience then? How about this? If I can beat you in a bit of a duel, what say then I get to face off against one of the knights? How does that sound? If I've proven my mettle. If I can't beat you, then I wouldn't even be worth a knight's time, but...
That's true. I suppose. That could be fun.
Fantastic. Then shall we arrange it for after lunch?
Sure.
All right. He sticks out his hand and does a handshake.
He shakes Liam's hand.
Eat up. Rest up.
This is not going to be a duel to the death by any means.
No,
it's just a friendly competition.
It's a friendly competition.
Thank goodness, because if I had been leading around Mr. Bardsley and he was under my care and, some harm were to come to him, I would be devastated.
I don't think we've met either. I'm Connor.
Hi, I'm
Wilkins.
Zachery Wilkins. I handle your accounts. Well, I handle the paychecks of most of the knights, so I will be handling your paycheck when you become a knight.
Oh, I see. You should be handling my paycheck while I'm a squire.
That's actually at a different branch.
Oh, I see. Of course. Well, then I'll work my way up to being handling by you.
I'm sure you
God. He realizes the awkward phrase that just came out of his mouth, and he blushes for a second. He says, "You know what I mean."
He nods.
And he kind of stands like he's tough and definitely a man.
Zachery nods. I understood.
Liam's going to get his tray of food and find a place unobtrusive to sit down with Zach. And he's going to pull a bit of a handkerchief out from the inside of his sleeve and say, just a little bit of something to work up the sweat. Nothing to worry about, Mr. Wilkins.
And he has this face of realization, and he nods. Liked what you heard? Let us know by using hashtag #DandiesInDanger over on our Twitter, Insta, Tumblr, and TikTok in the listed links below. We'd love to hear any and all comments, questions, and theories as to where the story might be headed. Want to support us and our lads' adventures more directly? Then please consider clicking on the link and becoming a patron today. For just $1, you can gain access to our longer, uncensored outtakes and blooper reels. For $5, you can have access to exclusive stickers, in-world letters written by and for the lads, poetry by Adrian and Daniel, and original music from the show composed and scored by Chess Albanese. Can't afford to support directly? No problem. Podcasts survive by word of mouth, so if you like what you heard, tell your friends, family, and local graveyard ghosts all about these exciting tales. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Dandies in Danger is written and voiced by Elijah Bergateres as Zachery Wilkos, cast as Liam Bardsley, Chess Albanese as Daniel Pritchard, and Toast as Adrian Edwards. It is edited by Toast. Original score and music composed by Chess Albanese. It is produced by Dandies team, and made possible by listeners like you.